So in this session, let's learn how to read data from an XML file. So let's take a data structure described in an XML file and convert it directly into a data frame. Let's first understand what is XML. XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. So it's a software and hardware independent tool for storing and transporting the data. Now why do I say this is, see, many computer systems contain data in incompatible format. So if you need to exchange data between these incompatible systems for upgrading the systems, then it's a time consuming task. Large amount of data has to be converted and the data is incompatible. So XML stores the data in plain text format. So this provides a software and a hardware independent way of storing, transporting and sharing the data. Now XML is also very easier to expand. That is why it is called extensible. It's easier to expand or upgrade an XML to a new operating system, a new application or even a new browser without losing the data. And XML is also very simple. It's quite self-descriptive. It just contains the sender information. You just have to specify receiver information. It has a heading, it has a message body. So basically you can say XML is just information which is wrapped in the tags. So this is a simple example of an XML. I just have defined a starting tag note and an ending tag note, and you have I put the to information here, from information here. This is a heading section and this is a body section. Now the main difference between XML and HTML is XML was mainly designed to carry the data. So the focus on what data it is carrying. But HTML was designed to display the data. So the focus in HTML was how the data looks. XML tags are not predefined. As we have seen in previous session, HTML has predefined tags like P, H1, table, but XML has no predefined tags. You can have your own tags. You just have to define your own tags. So that's the reason XML is very simple. It's very good for data sharing, data transportation, very good for platform changes and data availability. So let's now see how we can create a XML file and convert it into a data frame in our Python script. So let's go to the Jupyter notebook. Okay, so before you start, just ensure that you create an XML file. So I have created an XML file as shown here. So this is the XML file I've created. So this is a starting tag. As I told, you can have your own tags. See, I've created an XML file. Basically what I've done is I just want to have 4 headers like cooking, children, web, and one more is web, one more. So under that I'm going to have information like title of the book, author of the book, year of the book, and price of the book. So under each category I have a book category for cooking, book category for children, book category for web, and one more category again for web. So under that I am having common sections like title, author, year, and price. So once you create an XML file, create it in your notepad and then upload it in your Jupyter in your working directory of your Jupyter notebook. See here I have created the uploaded the XML file called as books1.xml. Now let's go to the Python script. So which modules are important? We saw in the previous sessions when we were converting JSON into data frame or HTML into data frame, pandas were providing a lot of libraries, input, output. API functions were provided by Python, right? But here we do not have any specific tool regarding the XML format. However, it's not a problem because Python has many other libraries besides pandas that can manage reading and writing of data in the XML format. And one such library which is very good, provides excellent performance for parsing of very large files of XML is lxml. So first import the library from lxml and under that import the module Objectify. We are also importing pandas because we need to create a data frame. So after that I need to parse through the XML file. So in order to parse through the XML file, you just need to call the function parse, objectify.parse, and under that you give the arguments, the name of the XML file which I have already uploaded in my notebook, and return the value in XML. Now let's see what is under XML, right? So before that, let's start executing. Now let's see what's under XML. So basically XML gives us an object tree, which is an internal data structure of the module XML. So when you open this, you can see that it is giving the information that it is actually a tree. So a tree structure is created. So now if you want to navigate through the tree, you need to first find out the root of the tree. So to find the root of the tree, under XML, call the method getRoot method. So when you execute this, right, and see what is in root, so root is basically going to have the root, basically going to point to the root of the tree structure. Now you can, through the root, you can pass through the or access the various nodes of the tree. So how do you access? See, if you see the XML file, under the root I have this, the first nodes that I have is book, and the second node, the first child node I'm talking about, I have the price, right? So let's try to book, and under book I have price, right? So what I can do is root.book.author. So root, this is the root node, under that this is the first child node, and this is a second child node. Similarly, this is a root node, under that I have the child node book, and under that I have price. So if you execute this, see, you can see the information of the first author in the XML file, which is this one, right? This is the first book which is displayed here now, and the price is also displayed. So you are able to access the various nodes of the tree through this root node. Now suppose I want to get all the child nodes of the reference element, then what do I have to do is I have to call the method getChildren under the root node. So when you execute this, see, I will not get the information of the text. I am basically getting, it is pointing to the first child. Why I am getting 4 pointers here is, the reason is in this XML file I have, under the root node I have 4 children, right? So one is cooking, the second one is this children, the third one is web, and the fourth one is this one. Okay, so I have 4 children under the root node, so that's why I'm getting these 4 pointers to the children under the root node. Now if I want to get the name, I did not get the name of the children, right? So if you want to get the name, then what you have to do is you have to give the tag. First get the tag attribute. Let's set the tag attribute. Now what does tag attribute do? How do you do this is you loop through the children, right? Because I have 4 children under the root node, first loop through it using the for loop for child in this one, root.book.getChildren. So what I'm doing now is I am looping under this. Okay, so if I loop under this and you try to access the tag, so you have to say child.tag for child in root.book.getChildren, and if you execute this, what am I getting here? Under book, right, under book I have 3 children. One is the under book I have 4 children, sorry, title, author, year, price. So I am getting those headings here. Okay, so tag is basically giving us a tag information. It only gave me the tag information. These are the tags, right, which are enclosed between the these brackets. But if you want to get the text, what is a text, what is a title, what is the author, what is the year, what is the price, if you want that, just change this entire line and copy this entire line and change the tag to text. So if I change the tag to text, you can see that I am getting the name of the book, name of the author, year, and price. Okay, so you can also find the length of this, right? What's the length? How many children are there under node, under the root node? 4. Just put the length function. Okay, now if you want to access individually and see the indexes, see 4 are there, right? There are 4 children under root. Just put the index number and check. See, what did I get? I gave the index number as 3. So basically what happened, I am getting the third information, that is learning XML, this one. The information of the third child. This one. Because the index starts from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3. So basically the last one, learning XML, and I'm getting the information of that. Eric Tree is the author, the year is 2003, the price is this. Okay, so under that, if you want to check what is there, again execute that. See, under that again, For root dot, just put the indexes, and you do all these kinds of uh, experiments on your code. Try to change the index numbers, try to see the first child, try to see the grandchildren, the second child. Do all these experiments. Now let's go to the code. Now what is my intention of the program? I want to convert the XML file into a data frame. So how do you do this? Let me first define a function. I am going to call a function name as this one, and for that I'm passing the root as the argument, definitely, right? Because through the root only I can browse through the or navigate through the tree structure. Now let's do it part by part. First, for my data frame, let me first get the column headers, right? Which are my column headers? Cooking, that is a category. The first child, let me take the first child under the root node and display that as the column header. So that means this one, cooking, children, web, and this one, I want to put that as my header. So how do you do it? First, let me define a variable called as column underscore names and make it as an empty list. I'm going to put it into a list. Now you have to put a for loop because you have to loop through the children, right? And what would be the range of the for loop? It starts from 0 and length of root dot get children. Just now I told you, right? Root dot get children, and I'm giving 0 so that I just browse through only the topmost node of my root. So that's why I'm giving here 0. I just want to go to the first child under the root node. So that's why I'm giving here 0. Okay, under that now I'm going to get the tags. I'm only going to get the tags. I don't want the text, right? I only want this tags: title, author, year, price. So that's why I'm taking the same thing you just copy, but the only thing here is put I dot tag. So what happens? I will keep incrementing from 0 up to 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, and the names which we get, that is a title, author, that would be appended to this. Okay, and after that, after you get the columns names, I have to convert it into a data frame, which we have discussed. We have discussed about data frame in the previous pandas sessions, pandas tutorials. So how do you create a data frame? PD dot, that's why import pandas before, right? And then you say PD dot data frame, and for that you give the argument as column underscore names, because column underscore names will have the now headers, right? And then this function has to return the XML frame. So just execute this function. Now just to see how this function has worked, what you can do is, now under this I will just call this function to see how it's working, right? Do it parts wise. First work on the column headers. Okay, see, now I executed this. What did I do? I created the function, then I call the function to which I have to call the function, right, to execute it. I call the function to which I gave the root node. And when I executed this, see, what did I get? Title, author, year, price. So basically I've got the column headers, which is the nodes under the root node. Now let's start with the next part. Under titles, now I have to get these headings, right? So for that I have to now loop through the add one more loop, right? Under this title, right, I've got these headers. Now I have to get the information of this tag, textual information for each one. So I need actually two loops, nested loop, because I have one top loop for this booking category and I have a loop under that for title. So I will have 4 cross 4, that is 16 times this loop has to execute. So what I'm doing now is just copy this entire thing. So until here, this is what I discussed in now. I got the column headers. Now I have to get the, after I got the column headers, now I have to get the content, right? So what I'm doing is I will be having two loops, a nested loop. Okay, but let me first work on the top loop, then we'll go to the nested loop. In the top loop, what I'm doing is under the headers I have to first get the children, right? So what I'm doing is, again I'm looping through it, but now I will not give this kind of an index. I'm just going to loop through the get children. That means first child, that is this one, cooking, then children, then the first child under the root node, web, and then web cover. So that same thing I'm repeating now, I'm doing, but the only difference is the range of the loop will be from 0 to length of root dot get children, and I'm giving this information to object, and I'm storing this information in text. Okay, so the first child node information I'm keeping it in text. Now what you can see here is already I have column names, right? To that I am not using append function, I am using a function called as zip. So this, if you see the functionality, zip is a function in Python which will help us to combine multiple iterables like list or tuples element wise, because I want to have element wise. See, when you execute, you'll come to know. Now let me call this function. Okay, no, I have to execute this function. So let me call the function under this. See what has happened now? You can see that there are no values under this because I have just done the first looping, right? I just looped. What am I telling? That I have to now loop through my XML 4 times like this. That information I have given. Now in order to get the contents, what I have to do is I have to have one more loop under the J loop. So for K would exist, it's a nested loop for J, and under that I have for K. Now under this, for the column names I am getting the text, right? I have to get the text. So that is dot text. So when I say dot text, I will be able to get information about the name of the author and the name of the price. Now what is that I'm doing is I'm using a function called as zip. So zip will do element wise combination, right? So if you execute this and then again call the function, now you can see that I have got it. So what did the zip function do is it is doing element wise, it will combine the multiple iterables because I have multiple iterables here, right? Element wise I have 3 loops which are learning. I have, this is the outer loop and this is again 2 nested loops I have. Now I have to combine this and this. I have to combine the contents of this with the contents of this for loop. The outer for loop is giving us column names and the second for loop is giving us text. Both of them I have to combine together. They are correspond to each other. For that is the reason I am using the zip function, and I am then putting it into a dictionary. As we already know that dictionary will have a key and a value pair, right? So then what happens, the column names would become the key, right, and these would be the corresponding values. So remember that you have to call for the zip function and then call the dictionary. So once you have all these values into the row, now I'm going to convert it into a pandas series and put it into row underscore s, and finally I'll be appending it. I'll be using this row underscore x for appending it to the XML frame. So my values will be stored in XML frame, which is nothing but what would be returned from this entire function. So when you call the function, just give the root node as information and you will be able to see that the XML file is converted into a data frame successfully like this. Okay, so please try in this system. Any comments or any doubts or any queries or any suggestions, please write in the comment box, and please subscribe to our channel. Thank you.